Good morning, friends. It is a great day. We are going to the Seattle Tilth May Edible Plant Sale, and I come here because there's just good stuff. There's interesting things that I'm not going to find in my local nursery. These are specialty items. I like to be adventurous in my garden, and I like to grow things that just pique the imagination, pique the curiosity. Already, I'm spying some amazing, interesting things. For example, this guy behind me, I don't know if we can see this. He is selling like chrysanthemum cuttings of some just really unusual varieties. And this is just the little vendor area outside of the actual sale. The other thing that I have purchased here before is back in my April garden tour, I showed you my Beauty of Moscow lilac. Never seen it in a traditional nursery, but I found one here. So I'm going to take you around and I'm going to show you some just unusual special things that you may not see every day, and some things that you may not find at your Home Depot, your big box store, even if you're at a smaller nursery. Let's go. These are some really incredible mum varieties. I want to show you a couple that piqued my interest here. First Light, it's Jill Anderson, or Anderton. That Polar Anderton, that is super cool too. And I love that they have so many special varieties in here. Oh man, look at that thing. Okay, Mocha. All right, that is super interesting to me. I might see if I can grab that. That honey is so cool. Okay, we are gonna be coming back to hit this up after the sale. Look at this. These world petals are sensational. Mount Rainier. Okay, you guys, more. Look at this. Peach Fairweather. Are you kidding me? Judith Baker. Are you kidding me? Okay, this is really good stuff. This is super special. And this is the Evergreen Chrysanthemum Association. We've got Puget Sound Beekeepers Association here. My aunt is a beekeeper. Okay. Whenever a vendor has this many blueberries, I'm looking to see what they're growing because they've got some really interesting ones. They've got one called Rika, they've got one called Elliot. There's another one down here called Bonus. So when you see a vendor who has masses of a singular type of plant, this is where you want to dive deep, because it's like the chrysanthemum folks. They're diving into like a genre of plant, and they're going to be pretty particular what they're bringing forth. So I feel like of this vendor, the blueberries I think are the most special. It's done. When you first come into the sale, it's a lot of like herby things, flowers. There's only a couple things that I want to take a look at. They also have a basil tent. It's still a little bit, we've got some really hot days, some really cold snaps, but I am stocking up on basil. All right, it says scented geraniums, mixed varieties. I love a scented geranium. These are phenomenal in a cut flower arrangement. They're incredible in the garden. I'm interested to see what they have. I have grown lemon before. And what else? More lemon. This one is interesting. Lady Plymouth. This is not one that I ever see, so I am gonna pop on that guy. Quatrefolia. Okay, that's gorgeous. You really don't see this deep veining, this deep colored veining on a lot of these, so I'm getting this one for sure. There's also another one, Orange Fizz. That one is really great. There's another one I'm looking for that's called Cinnamon, and I haven't seen it in a while. I saw it once and I should have gotten it. Oh, Attar of Roses. This is the one that I showed at the Flower and Garden show. This one was fabulous. All right, this is actually something that I'm going to be getting for a client of mine. This is lemongrass. Let's see if we can turn this around. This is lemongrass. Now, I have a couple of clients that I do edible containers for, and I like to include this because this will shoot out and it becomes just almost like a phenomenal centerpiece. So I am going to pop on a couple of these for clients as well. Okay, if any of you children of the 80s grew up with hippie relatives, this is a patchouli plant, and I'm kind of interested what it's going to smell like. Oh, actually, I kind of love it. It's like bizarrely nostalgic. Oh my God. Okay, it's kind of awesome. Do I get it? I know, I think I shouldn't get patchouli. What am I gonna do with it? All right, we keep moving. So this is the Stevia plant. I'm actually gonna choose a different one. But I think I'm gonna get this because I wanna play with kids gardening, and I also wanna put it in some iced tea just to see what this is like. So we're gonna pop on this one. Another thing that I've seen this at a couple different spots, but I like to grab it here, is I've gotten super into Korean cooking. I have like the most incredible Korean vegan cookbook, and I'll post it below. The recipes have been fantastic, but I want to play with growing my own shiso. Not that it's like super expensive. We've got really good access to amazing plants here in Seattle, but I love the idea that I can grow both, because that to me, I mean, my goodness. Okay, look at, I'm always thinking of containers. Look at this. Imagine growing the lemongrass for texture. We've got 2 different colors of shiso. This is becoming, like, in and of itself, a really sculptural, edible container. Okay, once again, I'm like 30 feet into a sale and I almost have a full tray. So it's gonna be fun. I feel like I'm about ready to buy one of everything. Okay, we're gonna exercise some self-control. All right, there's a couple things. I believe I can get amethyst at my nursery, but this African blue basil, this one seemed kind of interesting to me. Okay, so this is on my radar. This one, dark opal. Look at that leaf edge. That is super interesting. Okay, this one is definitely on my radar. Okay, I'm for sure gonna get some holy basil. I'm gonna get one for a client of mine and one for the trial garden. Okay, secret squirrel. Something that I said last year that I thought was gonna cause a kerfuffle is I was like, ooh, bonus plants. And someone was like, where? And I was like, oh, like in the pot. So this is what I refer to as a bonus plant. I did a short about the roll technique that I use, and this is a perfect example. I will actually get in here and I will separate these two because they're 2 separate, completely healthy plants. And I would never plant these 2 this close together because I want to cut this right above a leaf pairing so it bushes out. So this is like bonus plant territory. So I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna separate it. When I was doing my preview shopping last night on my phone, because they published the list a couple days before, this one came up. This one is called Osman. It says this is the fastest growing dark maroon purple basil developed in Switzerland. This is super interesting to me. So I am actually gonna grab this too. And it has this kind of like cool, interesting leaf. And then this is another one where I have 3 in here. So I'm gonna try to separate these out and see if I can get 3 plants out of it. And this is where you need to bring a friend or a cart. This is the official babysitting zone waiting station for all of us who have already filled up an entire tray, and we still have half of this sale to go. So stuff like this is exactly why you come to a sale like this, because you're just gonna get some super, super funky things. Okay, this is actually one that you see frequently, but I love it. And honestly, when you're planting some of these squashes, this is all you need. Do not, unless you have a farm, plant more than 2. This is such a sweet one. Okay, I'm gonna get these. So these are Jimmy Nardellos, and these are so awesome. I was down visiting my little brother in San Francisco, and we went to this restaurant, and we literally had just like the most amazing like fire roasted Jimmy Nardellos. They were so, so, so good. Okay, in my region, we do not have a very long growing season. I mean, we do and we don't. But when we're talking about hot peppers, it is a gamble when you do something that has like an 80-day maturity rate. 65 though. And then there's one over here that's 60. This is something that now I'm like, I feel like we can gamble with this. If I get up like 80, 90, I just don't think we get enough heat to really get something going here. I love a tomatillo. And what's so funny is I thought the first year there was something wrong with me because I bought one. That is a fatal mistake. That's a rookie maneuver. So I'm gonna grab a couple of each. You really need multiple tomatillos for that cross-pollination. I haven't grown the purples before. I usually grow just the verdes. I think I wanna get both though. Okay, and when you're at these sales and you pick one of these guys up, you wanna kind of give it a little bit of a shake. You don't want something that's like loosey-goosey all down in there. You want something that has like a nice firm stem. So just insider tip, all right. There's like 8,000 people gathered around this one tomato over here, and I'm like, what gives? But also, I like looking for the ones that are super picked over, because usually the people who shop early have pre-shopped. They know what they're doing. Oh, interesting. So it's a determinate, which means it like all ripens at once, which is great if you're canning, you're doing like masses of things. So yeah, canning tomato, ideal for sauce and paste. Pear-shaped scarlet fruits, thick and meaty with few seeds. Sets heavy. Do we want a heavy set tomato? I'm moving on. I don't know, I just don't know if I'm gonna can a bunch of tomato sauce this year. The 10 fingers of Naples. Huge fat fingers of fruit. Okay, this is hilarious. And then also, look at this, tomato. Get what you get. Feeling spontaneous. I love this because this happens to all of us every year. Like something gets mislabeled and I love that they're just like, eh, you get a tomato. I'm literally only buying this because I think it has the coolest name. Dancing with Smurfs. But also I love having colorful fruit in the garden, and so that ticks a box. Check this out. Okay, the two that I just picked up. So I picked up a Dancing with Smurfs, and then I picked up a peace vine because I thought that would be really fun because it's a, anyways, it's a little snacker. But look, it is, these ones are Renstew Ranch. It's the Rainier Beach Youth Stewards. How awesome is that? So it's the Rainier Beach Youth Stewards. Very cool. You know what? If these are kids running this, they did a really good job with their starts. That's awesome. Okay, I have an idea. Look at this. Geranium Kiss. 68 days, open pollinated, semi-indeterminate, dwarf, and bushy. 2-foot beauties do well and look great in a container. Should we do this in the small space container garden? Okay, this is one of my son's favorites. He loves a Sweet Million and a Sweet 100. Both are fantastic. They are indeed 2 different tomatoes. He loves a Sweet Million. Okay, perfect. I find this offensive. There's no way. Okay, for the record, my favorite tomato of all time is a Cherokee Purple. It doesn't produce a lot, but it is freaking delicious. Look at this blasphemy. Okay, Pink Boar, already love the name. Striped with green and metallic gray striping, and the flesh rivals the beloved taste of Cherokee Purple tomatoes. Okay, I feel like a taste test coming on. I feel like a side-by-side, head-to-head. Dewey by 7. Oh my God. Do we get more than one? We get more than, oh no. Okay. Okay, so these are the Cherokee Purples. These are obviously my favorite. And so I'm gonna grab 2 of these. The other thing though, is I was just chatting with one of the volunteers, and the Rainier Beach Youth, they actually start all of those, and all of the proceeds go to that program. So I feel like I might have to go through again. And she said they're $1 more, but at the end of the day, I don't really care, because if we're supporting a youth program that is getting this next generation of gardeners up and running, I'm like, just all in. Okay, I do have to show you one other thing. Okay, this tomato is called Carbon, and this has actually been on my radar for a couple of years, and I'm really interested. So I'm gonna pull one of these, and we're gonna have just like the biggest tomato taste test of all time and eternity. Also, you will notice I thought 2 trays would be enough. Yeah, okay. Insatiable appetite over here. Brandy Fred Dwarf. Indeterminate, part of the Dwarf Tomato Project. It's a cross between a Brandywine and a wild dwarf tomato? What? Does well in pots and still yields large fruit. Can grow to 4 feet in height but stays compact. Okay, this is really fascinating. Friends, this was a phenomenal sale. I got a little bit of everything. Came with 2 trays, leaving with 3. I want to just go over a couple quick hits that I really thought were unusual and are something that maybe you can find in a local shop where you are. First is the African blue basil. I thought it was so beautiful. The other one is the Osman basil. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This one is just delicate, really great little serrated leaves. Love that it was developed in an interesting part of the world that you don't normally associate with basil. This was a good one. This is the Tromboncino summer squash. And I picked through and I found one with 4 little starts in it. This one seemed really, really interesting. Giant corkscrew summer squash. Very excited about this one. Really excited about my shiso. Great little stuff there. Oh, this one. This one is the apple mint. And I haven't grown apple mint before, but I thought this one would be really, really fun to put in drinks, that kind of stuff. This is from the Rainier Beach Youth Stewards, and I'm really excited to support this organization. This one is Peaceville. And then I got this one. This is the Dancing with Smurfs, which the names are awesome. I got this too. This one is so cute. This one is an onion. It's called Purplette. And you can grow this as a bunching, or you can harvest it as like a little golf ball. Apparently, if you let them go in the garden, they will develop a skin like a traditional onion. But I found that I used so many onions last year in cooking, and having a little fresh onion like this, I think it's just perfect. I was really excited about this scented geranium. This one is Chrysanthemum. Anyways, I thought that was so beautiful. And you know what? It's funny. Scented geraniums can get really in your face. This one has almost like an herby hint to it. Yeah, it has almost like a parsley herby hint. Very excited about that one. What you're going to notice about the plants that I'm purchasing is they almost fall into categories. We have herbs, we have tomatoes, we have peppers, and then we have a smattering of really unusual things like this summer squash that I've never seen before. The reason behind this is because I know that I have more bang for my buck when I buy seed. And there are certain things that simply do better directly sown as opposed to as a transplant. So in this category, maybe I'll pop a little list up on the screen, but there's beets, carrots, scallions, radishes, lettuce, arugula, spinach, many of the summer squashes, pumpkins. These are all things that you can direct sow with such great success. Oh, do we say peas and beans? Okay, peas and beans, that should be at the top of the list. These are all things that are grown with such great success and actually prefer to be direct sown, so we aren't disturbing root systems. Something like a tomato, for example, let's just take this Sweet Million. This is something that takes so beautifully to transplanting. And in fact, I can bury this sucker right up to here, and it's gonna be even more robust in my garden. All that having been said, I think I have really gone for the gusto here. So I want to run these back to my car, but then I need to double back because I can't pass up some of those mums that I saw out there. They are fantastic. And it's something like 3 for $10. Get out of here. Awesome, awesome. So that's our next stop. Okay, so when we first got here, these were some of the ones that first caught my eye because they are just look at this. It is so interesting. And look at the little curl that's at the end of each petal. This one I love. I mean, coral reef. That's the perfect name for that one. Ooh. Okay, look at this shaggy monster. Birmingham. That is wild. That is wild. Man, oh man. You know what? There's so many here. Freaking cool.
Dang. Lakelanders. That is so crazy. It's almost like we have to like just choose one and then.
Okay. So I want to hear the story about this. So should we start from crusty old bastards?
75 years ago, a bunch of crusty old bastards split off from the Seattle Chrysanthemum Club because it was too much of a gardening club, and they established a men's only Evergreen Chrysanthemum Association, and it was just to grow English exhibition chrysanthemums, and it was primarily the large exhibition and incurves and what are called late decoratives.
What's an incurve?
An incurve
is that the one that like the petals?
It's a very, very tight ball around the size of a baseball or a softball, but it's distinguished as a class in that the top is supposed to be like this. It's literally closed at the top.
Interesting, okay.
And round. And then late decoratives that are kind of in between size of the incurves, but not as big as the medium exhibitions. And they continued that way for about 50 years. And then finally, things evolved, and it's not a men's only club anymore. In fact, our president for the last 5 years has been a woman who's kept the whole thing going, frankly. The daughter of one of our former growers. And so we've had a public plant sale every year to just to keep the club funded.
Yeah.
And this is the first year we've been at the edible plant sale.
This is so perfect for it.
Yeah, because it's a lot of very intense gardeners.
Yeah. We all like to grow something a little bit different.
Yeah.
We don't want to go to a garden center and just find the same old, same old.
They don't show up at the gardening centers. They don't.
There used to be a company that you could do like mail order.
King's Chrysanthemums.
Yes, King's. Where are they? Do they?
Ted King used to come up. Ted King would get some of his stuff from us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'm about ready to head home for the day. It started raining. I ended up visiting the Chrysanthemum people, which is just, by the way, an incredible organization. I will link to them below. They have a show in October, which I'm very excited about. And I literally couldn't make up my mind. So I have 18 chrysanthemums and they were so fantastic. They were showing me how I can pinch out the center of these taller ones and root them. So I'm gonna try that as well. Anyway, I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed today's adventure. It has been such a treat to share one of my personal favorite things to do every single year as a gardener in the Northwest. We'll see you in the next one. And in the meantime, stay home with your garden for me.